I want to talk today about something I think we can all relate to as musicians. We're different than everybody, and that is something that I think sometimes our family and friends and people that know us or people outside see us as black sheep. Now, I've had that role in my family for decades. It doesn't bother me anymore. There used to be a time where it really bothered me that what I did and where my passions lie, and the things that I had to go through, the things that I had to survive, were way more extreme than anybody else in my family. And that shaped who I am today. That shaped, I am a no BS, give it to me straight type person. And most people are not like that. Most people tend to just, everything is rosy and, like it's some leave it to beaver world that we live in. And, and the rest of us, the musicians, but we are the Eddie Haskells, right? We are the Cads. We are, I don't know. It's really a hard thing to talk about and explain, but I know that the people that watch this channel are gonna understand that because I briefly mentioned it in a chat recently, and man, every musician in the chat was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." I know the feeling. Man. Here's the reality. We are different. We are wired different. What we've been through is very different, and it shaped who we are. We are unique. We are survivors. We know how to survive with very little often. I mean, I don't care. Look, man, even if you're a rock star, and you're traveling on a big tour bus, and you're raking in hundreds of thousands each night. It's still like being in the circus, and you've learned how to survive. You don't get that far in a business that's as cutthroat and brutal as the music business without being a survivor, without knowing how to survive on very little. And you may be, the guys at the top, you may be staying in 5-star hotels, and you may be even potentially flying in a private jet. But my guess would be if things go awry, or if you find yourself in a tough situation, you're going to know exactly what to do. I've gone back to recently buying Top Ramen. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of people that watch my channel that still eat it. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. But you know what? It's brought back memories of my time where I would have $20, or $50 to last me a couple of weeks to eat. And, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I don't, okay, here's a Top Ramen tip. I don't leave all the water in there. I put the seasoning in there and all that, but I pour some of that out because, man, those things have a lot of salt. And, back in the day, I would open up a can of tuna and I put the tuna in there. And then that's carbs and protein, that will fill you up and get you on your day. But let's get out of talking about recipes and talk about, how our families perceive us. it becomes very hard when you've experienced what we've experienced as musicians, having to fight for every dime that we make, having to work in, situations like bars. I can honestly say I've spent the majority of my career, the majority of my time earning money in bars. That has been the probably the one thing that I've done the most over all those years. And cutting my teeth on the Sunset Strip, you know, that was a huge part of shaping who I am. But here's the reality. Before I had done all that and had to, fight my way out of the clubs and play, for drunks, my whole life, and deal with club owners who want to stiff you, and all of that, and crazy psycho women that are waiting in the wings for you when you're playing in bars. Before all that, just the fact that I love music, and I would sit in a room and do this all day, that made us Black Sheep. That made me a Black Sheep. I didn't want to do anything else. I couldn't see the 9 to 5, go to college for 4 years and go work in an office somewhere. I just couldn't see that as being something that I wanted to do. I wanted to get out. I wanted to experience life. I wanted to do things. I wanted to see the world. Now, in my case, the world means all of the U.S., and almost all of Canada, and a tiny bit of Asia. And you know what? I'll take it. I've gotten to do a lot more. There's a lot of people that never leave their hometown. And, I could never really afford to travel, but being a musician, you do get to see the world. You do get to see the United States. You do get to see Canada. I did play in Mexico a couple of times. I did play in the Philippines. I did 2 runs to the Philippines, and I did touch my feet down in Japan on the way to the Philippines. So, I've gotten to do things that I never would have gotten to do probably if I'd sat in a cubicle my whole life, unless I paid for it and I went on a vacation. And that's a whole different other experience. Traveling somewhere with a roving group of musicians, and going and doing a job and playing and experiencing music through the eyes of people from somewhere else, people from another country, people from another town. That's an experience that the average Joe will never experience. But they people, your family, they just don't really know or understand. They just think, and look, I am comfortable with the role of Black Sheep. I am as calm and cool and collected as anybody. But when it comes time to protect somebody in my family, or it comes time to make sure that I'm getting paid, or it comes time to deal with an escalated situation, I have no problem turning that switch and reverting back to my prior self that had to fight for every dime that I made in a club, that had to deal with psychopaths and drunks and lunatics and everything else that I've had to deal with. So dealing with family, they can't relate to that. And I'm not somebody that, in my family, if somebody keeps pushing my buttons, I'm just simply not going to deal with it. And I am not going to just sit there and take it. And I think a lot of people who haven't experienced these extremes, the extreme things that being an outsider, we're outsiders, we're Black Sheep, we're not like everybody else, and living that life of someone always looking at you strange, someone always judging you. You can date normal people in the normal world, but they're always gonna judge you as it's like back in the day, man. Didn't they used to call it a show folk? Oh, the show folk. And I think I've seen posters, advertising for rooms for rent and stuff like that. And and besides, labeling racist things and oh, this person can't come in and this person can't come in, and also in that list of people eliminated from being able to get into this place, show folk would be in there. So we are looked down upon. We are judged, and some people feel they're above us. And look, man, yeah, I could have made a lot more money doing something else in life, but this was my passion. This is what I wanted to do. This is the one thing that I wanted to do. And, a lot of people don't have that one thing. I knew at a very young age that I wanted to be a musician, that I wanted to play music, that I wanted to hear the sound of that crowd screaming every night. And I wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience the adulation, the applause. And, along with that, I got the downside, the depression, the times where I wasn't sure if I could make ends meet. The tough times that we face as musicians, dealing with substances and dealing with having to get off them and learning how to navigate that, learning how to do it on your own, because there is no health insurance or anything like that. All those years of being a musician, man, I did whatever it took to get me on that stage and be able to play my show. And, health be damned. It didn't matter. I've got to do this. I am on a mission, and I am going to do this regardless of whatever it's doing to me or what I'm doing to myself. And I don't think average people can understand that kind of passion. I think people label us black sheep because we're different from them, and it's just their way of putting us in a box. And oh, you're just a black sheep. And we're treated different as family members. I am not somebody that does well with authority. I don't like being told what to do. I have a mind that has been fostered by improvisation. And it's very hard to fool me. You can't, what do they say? You can't fool a fool. You can't BS a BSer. I'm not somebody that falls for every little thing that comes along. I am very skeptical of things because I've had to be very skeptical. If the phone rings and somebody's got an offer or somebody is offering me a position or there's a gig or this and that, man, I know better than to just go, oh yeah, I'll go do that. I gotta ask the questions. I gotta know what's going on, who's paying, what kind of crowd are we playing for, all of these things. And so your average everyday person is not going to understand that. Your average everyday person is not going to understand that after working, 4 hours on a stage and the 3 or 4 hours prep time before that and the 2 hour drive to the gig and all that other nonsense, at the end of the night, the club owner trying to stiff you out of your pay. And you're in a very precarious situation, and you've either got to press him or you've got to walk away. And I would say probably 9 times out of 10, we are the foolish or brave, whichever way you want to look at it. We are the foolish or the brave who go, man, screw this. I'm getting my money. And I have had to chew out club owners and practically grab people by the throat sometimes to just get $100. And it's not always like that. There's been a lot of good club owners and people that were honest, and sometimes people that would pay you even when they maybe didn't make their door that night. But, we've had to fight for everything that we've gotten, every scrap on the table. And, another thing that we've had to fight for is respect. We don't get the respect from our families. It's very easy for them to lump us in. Oh, they're black sheep. Oh, he's a bad person. Oh, look, man, I've had to live a very wild and crazy life in this business. And I've been in situations when I'd have to go from zero to FU like that. Why? Because somebody's life could be in jeopardy, because somebody's pay could be in jeopardy, because someone is threatening you. You don't understand. You could be smiling 1 minute on stage, and then someone could come running up and try to attack you in a second. So I have no problem going from 0 to 100 in a second like that, because I've had to. I've had to. And none of those people will ever understand what we had to go through as musicians, how hard we've had to live, how much we've had to survive. They'll never understand because they've never been through it. So what they don't understand, they like to belittle and say, oh, it's the black sheep. And they might not even use that term. But you know what they're doing. I know every time somebody is, oh, well, he curses and he's done this and he's done that. You know what? I have no problem being on this YouTube channel and not cursing and telling my story and being calm and collected about it. But the reality is, man, I have had to go from zero to all hell breaking out, because that's what we have to deal with as musicians. And I am not afraid to do that, to protect my family or protect my friends or protect my music or anything else in life. I'm a survivor. We are survivors as musicians. Yes, we get labeled black sheep. Yes, our families tend to, and it's very easy for them to do that. It takes very little mental acumen. It takes very little intelligence to just label somebody a name and just dismiss them because they have not walked a mile in our shoes. They do not know what we've been through. And let me tell you something. If you're one of those people who put some of your family members in a corner and call them a black sheep, man, you're not on the same level as us. I'm sorry, but you're not a survivor. We are survivors. We have been through all this. And you know what? We're not afraid to stand up for ourselves. That's the difference between us and you. We can stand up for ourselves. We've been through hell and we've made it out. And we're still here, man. We may be like the cockroaches of the earth. I don't care what you want to call us, what you want to assume, but we are survivors. We are black sheep. And you know what? Today, I'm going to wear that badge with pride.